You're saying this morning that you're making it your mission to stop the split of the Labour Party. That's why you're standing as leader. But at the same time, you're also saying that if you aren't elected, that the party will burst apart and disappear. You are potentially playing your own Project Fear game, aren't you, this morning, trying to frighten the Labour grassroots that the cause they love dearly may disappear in front of their eyes if you aren't elected?
No, I'm just being honest, Kate. It's why I started to stand in this contest. I wasn't intending to run against Jeremy Corbyn. I'd served loyally in his shadow cabinet, but I put it to him on several occasions when 170-odd Labour MPs out of our 200 in Westminster had lost all confidence in his ability to lead Labour, unite us and take us to the country and give us a chance of winning a general election. When they've lost all faith, then Jeremy can't hold the Labour Party together. And if we're not united, then we will lose, because disunited parties always lose elections. How on earth can a party that's so fractured as Labour is presently say to the country, put your trust back in us? And we know we've lost trust in the country, we've lost lots of credibility, and we've got to win that back, and a prerequisite for winning it back is for us to stick together. And that's why I think it's time for a new generation of Labour men and women who are determined to be just as radical as Jeremy, just as deep is our understanding of the scale of the problems we've got in Britain, but maybe we can hold the party together a bit more and take us forward, and that's what I intend to do.
There is a new generation, isn't there, of Labour Party supporters, maybe not at the top level where you are, but actually in terms of the grassroots, the number of people who are joining the Labour Party and paying up to what we believe is to support Jeremy Corbyn. I mean, that goes against everything that you're saying.
No, I'm one of that new generation, aren't I? I'm only someone who's been an MP for 6 years, and I've been in the shadow cabinet just less than that. And I welcome all of the people who joined the Labour Party. They joined for exactly the same reasons as me, in order to make the world a better place, starting with their own communities. So we need more people in the Labour Party, but we've got to be united. And at the moment, we're more fractured than we've ever been. I've never known the Labour Party so divided. I've never known such an ugly debate within the Labour Party. So the first job is to heal those rifts and pull us all back together and say to the country, we understand the scale of the problems you've got here in Britain. We understand the scale of the issues we face, the insecurity, the wage stagnation we've seen, public services that are collapsing. Bristol's a great example. The mayor here, the new Labour mayor, is having to make millions of pounds worth of cuts because of Tory austerity. All of the local health boards, the health trusts around Bristol are in crisis, financial crisis or other crisis. You know, Britain has got major problems, and it needs a strong Labour opposition, and it needs us to look like a government in waiting.
Okay,
and at the moment we don't.
Let's explore a little bit about whether you could be that strong opposition. Let's have a look at some of the things you're proposing. You want to raise the living wage and also make it available for those under 24. You think it's ludicrous that anybody's thinking of cutting corporation tax, or that it's down to 17%. Why do you think those things? Because those things are in place. We already know companies are struggling with the living wage as it is at the moment, the minimum wage, and corporation tax is there to help wealth be generated. We're absolutely on the verge of another recession, aren't we? We're seeing interest rates potentially cut today. Where on earth is the money going to come from to deliver that?
Well, we are on the verge of another recession, a recession after 6 years of Tory austerity, the policies you've just been describing of the lowest wage growth for a century, Britain having half the rate of corporation tax of other major capitalist societies like America. And it's not working. Quite clearly it's not working, because now we are teetering on the brink of another recession. So what I'm saying is, let's try a different course in Britain. Let's try and, instead of refloating the bankers once more, let's start floating the people.
But where are you going to get that money from, though, Mr. Smith? Because it can't just come from thin air, can it?
Well, very simply, corporation tax would, of course, increase the revenues that we're putting into the coffers of the Exchequer of the UK. You know, the Tories have cut corporation tax back from 28% down to 17%. In so doing, they've reduced the revenues for the British people, and it's not resulted in extra investment in the UK. There's been less investment historically than there's been for generations.
Okay.
And working people in this country can't afford to carry on bumping along with rock-bottom pay.
No.
We've got the worst pay growth in Britain. We've actually got worse pay growth than anywhere in Europe other than Greece. That's how bad the
So why
Tories
don't
have
the unions
dealt
back
with
you
our
then?
economy over the last 6
I
years.
mean, all the things you're saying there is a thing that unions would feel strongly about. Why doesn't one of them come out and back you and 13 others back Jeremy Corbyn?
Well, I think you shouldn't get ahead of yourself, Kate, because most of the unions haven't yet said who they're going to back, and I'm confident and hopeful that some of the big unions in Britain will be backing me in this contest.
17 million people have voted for Leave.
Yep.
Based, I don't know how many people voted on the basis of that advert, but that was a huge part of the propaganda. You're now saying that's a mistake.
We have a £10 billion a year, a £34 million a day featherbed that is going to be free money that we can spend on the NHS,